The Biden administration began with an insurrection wrapped inside a pandemic, the aftermath of an embarrassing moment in history, a U.S. president twice impeached. The chaos, followed by the promise of calm.
We can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace.
But that calm was surrounded by razor wire and 5,000 members of the National Guard, all there to protect a fragile peace that began day one of the Biden administration. The only bright spot, an African-American poet in a canary yellow coat.
The loss we carry a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace.
There was a honeymoon, albeit brief. Congress passed a massive rescue plan to keep Americans safe as they waited for a vaccine. Checks began flooding American bank accounts. Bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed. Republicans and Democrats working together. The promise of the Biden administration coming into full view. On July 4th, the Biden administration felt confident enough to declare America was back.
Today, all across this nation, we can say with confidence, America is coming back together.
But in the end, the virus was going to have the last say. First Delta and the death of high-profile victims like former Secretary of State Colin Powell.
This variant, as you know, is every day getting more and more dominant.
Then Omicron, one by one, some of the strongest voices against the administration policies of masking and vaccines fell silent. Radio host, televangelist.
Early data suggests that Omicron is more transmissible than Delta, with a doubling time of about 2 days.
COVID fatigue led to voter outrage. Ground zero, school and election boards nationwide. People who once described their lives as boring now found themselves having to hire private security. In November of 2021, seat change. Republican Glenn Youngkin took over the State House in solid blue Virginia.
All righty, Virginia, we won this thing!
A series of Democratic self-inflicted wounds quickly followed. The death knell for Build Back Better came at the hands of two Democratic senators, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin.
I don't tend to do anything that divides our country anymore. So whatever I can do to unite and bring people together, and that means you have to work harder as you work across the aisle to bring people together.
By Thanksgiving, Americans were free to fly, but with one major caveat. The virus was surging in numbers never before seen. By December, the setbacks seemed to outweigh the accomplishments. Supply chain issues threatened Santa. Inflation threatened American households. No criminal justice reform, no Build Back Better. The last domino to fall, voting rights.
I've been having these quiet conversations with the members of Congress for the last 2 months. I'm tired of being quiet.
To add insult to injury, as Biden made his way to Capitol Hill to make one last push for voting rights, Kyrsten Sinema, a fellow Democrat, took to the Senate floor to say it was all for naught.
And while I continue to support these bills, I will not support separate actions that worsen the underlying disease of division infecting our country.
And so, as we mark year one of the Biden administration, the loudest voices are those of his fellow Democrats and black voters who feel betrayed. The other voices speaking loudly, the January 6th committee investigating that insurrection that began it all. Seditious conspiracy charges being filed against 10 of those who stormed the Capitol and one Oath Keeper who stood back. The most outspoken voice, a Republican, Liz Cheney.
This investigation must go forward. The idea that anybody would be playing politics with an attack on the United States Capitol is despicable and is disgraceful.
Through it all, the only constant, a pandemic, which more than anything else seems to control the Biden fates and fortunes.